Welcome to the Mander's Mindset Podcast. Here you'll find both monologue and interviews of entrepreneurs, coaches, healers, and a variety of other people, where your host Amanda Russo will discuss her own mindset and perspective and her guest's mindset and perspective on the world around us. Manders and her guests will help explain to you how shifting your mindset will shift your life.
Welcome to Mander's Mindset. I'm your host, Amanda Russo, and I am so excited for today's episode. I've told you guys a lot that this is a special episode, this is a special guest, but honestly, this is an episode that I am so excited about because today is the 1-year anniversary of when I released the first pilot episode of Mander's Mindset. So that being said, I knew I wanted to release an episode today as well, it being the 1 year. Even though normally I release on Mondays, you know what? I didn't care. I wanted to release a special episode for the 1-year anniversary of Mander's Mindset. That being said, I also wanted to interview a guest who I had even more respect for. Every single guest I've spoken to on the podcast, I respect their mindset because honestly, I would not have spoken to them and you guys would not have heard their story if I didn't respect their mindset in some form or another. Not saying I agree with everything they agree with, but I respect the mindset they embody. However, I knew I wanted the guest for my 1-year anniversary episode to be someone who I felt in my heart and soul was someone who contributed to Mander's Mindset being in existence. And that being said, I've told you guys the story a few times about how my friend Shawn sat down with me, showed me the steps, taught me how to record, where to publish the recording, what an RSS feed is, all of the things. And honestly, I know Mander's Mindset would have existed and it would be something that you guys would have heard eventually. But that being said, I don't believe you would have heard it when you did. So I decided who better to interview for my 1-year anniversary episode than Shawn Rivers himself, because he's going to tell you he was just a guide to me creating Mander's Mindset. I truly believe you wouldn't have heard it when you did. And he is someone who has a mindset and embodies a life that I have respected since him and I became connected. So that being said, second, I thought about starting a podcast. I knew 1, he was going to be a guest, and 2, any questions I had, he was someone who helped me with all of them along the way. And you know, there are so many leaders within society, people who embody a growth-based mindset that are leveling up their lives. But I have more respect for the leaders who are helping other people along the way. He's going to emphasize to you that no one can be the hero in anyone else's journey. However, there are certain people who, in my eyes, here's a visual aspect for you, they are growing their lives, but they are also holding their hand behind them or to the side to help other people grow alongside them or with them. And I absolutely admire and respect people and leaders who have that mindset. And Shawn has that mindset. He helped me so much throughout the process of Mander's Mindset becoming into existence. And he has been a huge part of my growth and evolution, and someone who has truly helped me shift my own mindset since I've known him. That being said, I knew you guys needed to hear Shawn. I'm also going to let you guys in on a little secret. I was so nervous going into this episode. I was excited, but I was also so nervous. I have not been as nervous for any other guest prior to speaking with Shawn. And why, I could not tell you. Him and I go way back. We've been friends for years. He's even the one who sat with me and showed me step by step. But I was still, my head had all these different thoughts of how to make this the perfect quote unquote episode. To the point where I was so worried, oh my God, what if I forget this? What if I forget to say this? Right before we recorded the episode, I was like, oh my gosh, let me put in my notes on my phone just in case I forget to say this. Guys, what I put in my notes, and I actually read it. I put, welcome to Mander's Mindset. Hopefully you know by now, I'm your host, Amanda Russo, and I am so excited for today's episode. Okay, it's only been 1 year of Mander's Mindset, but hopefully I freaking know by now that this is Mander's Mindset. It's been 27 years of Amanda Russo. Hopefully I know by now I'm Amanda Russo. But let's clear the air. In case you don't know, now you know. It's Mander's Mindset. I'm Amanda Russo. That's not going to change anytime soon. Welcome to Mander's Mindset. Hopefully you know by now, I'm your host, Amanda Russo. And I am so excited for today's episode because I am here with a guest who is going to tell you this is incorrect, but I believe you would not be listening to me right now and would not have heard an episode of Mander's Mindset if it was not for this individual. I am here with Shawn Rivers today, and I am so thrilled to be here with Shawn. We go way back, way back. And now he is an expert fat loss coach, and he began learning about health and nutrition in high school, where he started working out. Then he went on to obtain his bachelor's in exercise science. When personal training, he discovered there were many more components to working out, like how to build discipline, how we view ourselves, our identity, and many other factors that go into how we create our lifestyle and our habits. Shawn now serves his clients and many others with education and tools to help them create massive identity shifts, build sustainable lifestyles, and be proud of who they are looking at in the mirror. He also hosts the Growth by Shawn podcast, which, if you haven't heard, you should go listen to. And I am honored to be here with Shawn today. Thanks for joining me.
That was so amazing. My ego is being stroked right now. It's perfect. Perfect way to introduce me. Thank you very much. You would still have the, you would still have the podcast if I wasn't here. It just would have taken you longer to figure it out.
That is fair. That's it. But I'm so excited. So can we backtrack a little bit? And can you take us down memory lane about your upbringing, childhood, family dynamic, however deep you want to go?
Memory lane. Sure. Let's see. So I grew up in Swansea, Massachusetts, right? And primarily growing up, it was a normal childhood, I would say. No like capital T type traumas or things like that, right? And I have really awesome parents. I have 2 really awesome sisters. And it was just normal, right? Nothing like crazy. We would take a family vacation every year. Like that was just normal to me. Very middle class. Like I had food. I had a place to sleep. Like nothing felt wrong, right? And it wasn't until I started doing like deeper work on how we form beliefs and thoughts about how we view ourselves, all these different types of aspects, where I was like, oh, like how my parents viewed money, that's how I view money. Okay, like my parents' eating habits are my eating habits, right? And it's going to sound worse than it is, but just monkey see, monkey do. Like that's how people grow up. It's you're not going to grow up and listen to your parents. And if they're like, okay, do this, and this, no, it's okay. Whatever they're going to do, you're going to mimic it. Right. And that's a lot of how you learn when you're first growing up. And so middle school, high school, it was very typical, like overweight kid. I was kind of funny. I had some friends. Like I was teetering on the, hey, some of my friends are the nerds and some of my friends are the popular kids. And I was just in between, sometimes it was with them, sometimes it was with them, right? High school, played football, was awful. I was terrible.
Oh.
No, I was not good. I mean, let me put this into perspective too, right? My senior year, we went 0-10. Okay. Like we didn't even sniff a win. All right. We couldn't even come close. But regardless, like if you want to go like why I'm more in health and wellness now, right? My junior year of high school, and I love telling this story. I love to reminisce on this in terms of memory lane. It was my junior year of high school. Between my junior year and senior year that summer, I dropped about 30 pounds, right? In the matter of a summer. And I'll credit this to, first and foremost, myself, of course, because I had to do the work. But secondly, we had a student that had transferred the end of our junior year. His name was Phoenix. and that was his actual name. He was absolutely jacked and he was awesome. And so we had went, he really took me under his wing. We started working out. He taught me how to eat a little bit. And all of a sudden I was just like dropping weight. And then I was like, oh my God, girls are starting to notice me. This is really cool. And yeah, that's where like health and wellness really began. So I don't know how deep you want me to go in terms of everything else, but yeah.
So Junior, did you know then that it was health and wellness or something in that vicinity that you wanted to pursue?
No, God, no. Oh my God, no. I still don't even know what I'm going to do with the rest of my life. I'm 28 years old. I'm a spring. I am a spring chicken. All right. All right. I am so young. It's crazy. Like 28. Like what are you? You're 27, right? Are you 28? Something around
I'm
that. We're about the
27.
same age. Yeah. See. But regardless, like, no, it wasn't just like this instant epiphany moment. Like, oh my God, I'm going to help people. I'm going to do this. Like, I've always loved making people laugh. That was really a big cornerstone and a big piece of who I am. Right. But in terms of like being a comedian on stage, something like that, I'm not good with like one-liners. I'm more conversational. But regardless, so health and wellness, it was a fun activity for me to start to do. It was like, oh, if I stop playing video games and I start to work out, like girls notice me. That was always my biggest thing. I was like, whoa, girls notice me. All right. I was not confident either. Right. It was something where it was like, okay, I was the guy that was always like pulling down my shirt and all these things and wearing a big sweatshirt. Right. I initially went to school for accounting. Okay. Because my senior year, I got an A in accounting and I was like, I'll do this. Cool. So I went to UMass Dartmouth and pretty much just, how deep should I go here? Pretty much just fucked around on there. Am I allowed to swear here? Yeah, it's part of my personality. You know, I built this podcast, right? So anywho, I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyways, yeah, like I never really took school seriously, right? And I was like, accounting, what am I going to do with accounting? So again, it was actually someone else that I had looked up to at the time who was like, hey, I'm at Bridgewater. He was Jack. And he was like, hey, I'm in exercise science. And I was like, I don't know what you can do with that, but I'll go do that. So I transferred to Bridgewater. And I was like, I guess I'm in exercise science now, apparently, whatever that means. And then that's when health and wellness started to become less of just a hobby and more into, okay, like people ask me for a training program or people ask me for some advice or like, what am I doing? And I was like, oh, I'm going to be a leader in this space. Okay, now I'm starting to understand. And that's when it more became, okay, I can actually help people do this. And now I can make this into a career. I can make this like, how can I best serve people doing this? It was less of a hobby at that point.
Was there something that made you make that transition to exercise science to the whole new school?
I was working at Target. All right. And so I worked at Target, like Target was my first job. I worked there for like 6 years. And what had happened was I just looked up to a guy. I was like, this guy's really cool. Right. And I have had a lot of just like, he wasn't even a mentor or anything. He was just a guy that worked there. But I was like, this guy's awesome. Right. And so we were just chatting one day and he was like, yeah, I do exercise science. And I was like, yeah, I don't really see myself sitting at a desk. Like I'm not someone that really like likes to sit and just crunch some numbers all day long. So that was just the turning point. It did not take much to influence me to make that decision.
So you didn't put a lot of thought into it. It was okay.
No, very fly of my pants. Right. Like if I was to look back at it now, like we can all look back and we can say, oh, well, I would have done this differently. But like all of those decisions have gotten me to this point as well, though. Right. So you have to be grateful for it, because if you weren't at this point, like you don't know where you would be. I could be on the other side of the world. Who knows? For good or bad reasons, you know? And so what was your question again? Where was I going with this? Sorry.
I had asked basically if that was like a random, because you switched to.
Yeah, no, just split decisions. I have been someone for a long time that when I decide, you know what, this is no longer for me, I just quit and I go do something different. right? I am very like I've been emotional about decisions for a long time. And so if I feel like I'm getting this gut feeling that this isn't for me, I just go and do it. I just go and do something else. And I don't think about the consequences.
Okay. So then you started doing exercise science. And did you start taking a liking to it right away?
The school component, no. I'm just going to work out and that's going to be my job. Oh, yeah. That was my thought process. I was like, I'm just going to work out, right? That's all I have to do. In terms of like school and things like that, like a formal education, sure. For some people, there's a time and a place for it. For me, it became much more, I enjoyed the networking component. I loved going to parties. I loved like even some of my professors I still keep in touch with, things like that, right? And so my network really started to expand, which I really enjoyed. I love talking to people. That's my jam, right? I feel I can have a conversation with almost anyone. And so for me, the formal education side, learning about anatomy did not interest me. I'm more of, hey, tell me what to do so that I can get shredded and jacked, and then let's just go do it, right? I'm less about, even with my practices today, okay? Yes, of course, it's important to understand some components of anatomy, some components of your metabolism, some components of physiology, but all that really matters is whether you can get people results or not. That's it. Because you can know every single thing in the book, but if you can't get people results, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. So I could be a dum-dum, right? But if I, for some reason, can help you change your habits and help you change how you view yourself, start working out, start moving more, eating less, eating more quality, drinking more water, sleeping more as a top 6, let's say, then I can get your results. That's it.
So, you haven't always been into the health and nutrition coaching. You did other coaching before that.
Mm-hmm.
What made you realize that you wanted to do more of the health aspect of it?
So here's how my journey has gone throughout my like coaching career, right? I'll give you a little backstory to preface. So at first I started personal training. Depending on the gym I was at, I really liked it. All right. I like being one-on-one with people. The thing is, it's long hours. It was hard to get clients. I'm working for someone else. There were some great aspects to it. And then there were some aspects that I didn't love. Aside from that, like I figured out very quickly that you can't get everyone results. And that hurts to say to a degree, but it's the truth. Even with this podcast, even with my podcast, even with my own coaching clients, I understand that I am not able to get everyone results because I cannot be the hero in their story. I can be the guide, but they must become the hero. And I think that's a really good discussion and thought process to have, because a lot of us, when we're trying to change the world, right, we think I'm going to help everyone. And you can't. That's it. You just can't. And it's hard at first. And so with personal training, I found, okay, one, just like with the introduction, there's more to it than just working out. You can go and work out 3 or 4 hours a day, but one, not many people have the time to go and work out 3 or 4 hours a day. 2, you're most likely going to be overtraining or just doing some junk volume of some sort. 3, it's everything else outside of the gym is much more important than what you do in the gym to a degree, right? In the gym, or whether you're walking or Pilates or yoga, whatever form of exercise you're deciding to try, is important in terms of setting a realistic expectation for how you want to look, in terms of like the amount of muscle you're going to have, right? Or your flexibility, all of these different components. But in terms of changing your energy and like changing your energy, how much body fat you actually lose instead of just losing weight, because there's a difference, right? You can lose body fat or you can lose muscle. You can lose both, right? And so it's everything outside of the gym that really matters. And so I wanted to bring this up first because I understood very quickly that there was more to this than just the physical aspect. There was a very big mental component to even personal training. how can I go and get someone to change all of these different lifestyle factors by just seeing them for an hour a week, 2 hours a week? Why are you paying the gym $400 a month to get trained by some kid and then have a really great workout for 2 hours a week and then do nothing else, right? Where is this gap that we're trying to fill? How can I fill this gap? Why is it that you come in really excited, or you feel like you let me down in a sense because of your decisions? How can I get this to start to switch? And so that's when I more started to explore this realm of personal development and self-growth, right? And so through different courses and certifications and all these different badges, you could say, or letters behind my name, right? Let me look at more of the mindset component, all right? Like how we view ourselves, why we do what we do, human behavior, psychology, all of these different aspects of life. And so at first I had wanted, okay, I have started to change my Mander's mindset, okay? And so that was good, right? That was good. I see you laughing.
Good.
Yeah. So I had started to change my mindset and how I viewed things, how I viewed life. How can I get other people to do this? And I was like, okay, I see you over there, all right, just sitting lonesome. Now, how can I go and bring you to this side? Hey, this side's really cool, right? Come on over, all right? So let me do all the deep work. But you know what? That's not what sells, all right? For me, that's not what sells. If I'm like, hey, come here, join my coaching program, I'm going to change your life. People want to know how, right? If we hopped on a call and I was like, yep, it's $1,000 a month to work with me and I'll change your life. And then you go to your husband and you're like, hey, I just gave this guy $1,000 and he's going to change my life. He's going to want to know how. You got to quantify it, right? And so, and then if you were just to say, hey, yeah, he said he was going to change my life, we're going to do the deep work. He's going to be like, the deep work? What? So really,
Yeah.
why I do health and fitness now is a large aspect of, one, because I've already done it. All right. It's because I've already done it and I'm good at it. Right. And I think that you do need those two components. And plus, I enjoy it. I like it. Right. I can go and sit and write a training program. I can go and when a client writes their check-in for me, I enjoy sending them a 20-minute voice note about this is what's working, this is what's not working, this is what needs to change, and then asking all of the difficult questions to get them to where they want to be, right? But in terms of me going and being like, hey, I'm just going to change your entire life and then you'll make more money, you'll have a better body and all these different things, it's just not my jam. And so I really like the physical component of things. And that's why I do what I do now, as opposed to, hey, I can go and take some of these different tools that I've used before, right? But that's not what I'm here to do right now.
Okay.
Did that answer your question?
Maybe I worded my question a little weirdly, but okay. Okay.
What were you trying to ask?
Well, even like we did coaching before.
Yeah.
And that wasn't like health coaching. I don't know what you want to call that.
Mm-hmm.
Mindset coaching, life coaching. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you transitioned from that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when I was doing more of like a life coaching aspect, I didn't enjoy it.
Okay.
That's why. I enjoyed going through the process myself, but I didn't enjoy facilitating it for someone else. And plus, I was too focused on the outcome and the result of the individual. It's really fun, all right? And it's amazing to be able to be of service to someone and watch them have that perspective switch or that aha moment, that epiphany moment, right? But it's more enjoyable for me to go and look at food, how food is viewed, your relationship with your body, working out. Like I enjoy getting videos from the gym and critiquing them, looking at the intensity. I like that a lot more than me going and sitting down and talking through all the hard shit. Right. And that doesn't mean that I don't have difficult conversations with my clients, because you need to be the best question asker that you can. Right. If I just give you all the answers, you're not going to listen to me. All right. But if I ask you the hard questions and you figure out the answer and I guide you towards the answer, you will listen to you.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I was just curious. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure you do have have the tough conversations though, because I work with a one-on-one fitness coach, and there's a question at the end. Anything I can help with for your development or something. So there's always the deep conversations because it affects the whole aspect, other things that show up in our lives.
Mm-hmm. Well, even when you're going through the process of changing your body, right? There's so much more than just being jacked and shredded, right? You're going to look at yourself differently. You're going to carry yourself differently. You're going to talk differently. All right. You're more confident. Someone that's walking around at 300 pounds versus someone that's walking around with, I just have like a cut off t-shirt on today, but I'm more confident in my body and how I carry myself and the decisions that I make than, and again, this is just speculating a little bit here, but than someone that's 300 pounds, right? If you can't even control what you put in your mouth, how are you going to control the rest of your life?
That, yeah.
That is,
yeah.
That's one of the few things we can control, right? And so my mission now is really to help raise the standard for our society, all right, in terms of our health, all right? And this is just my little corner of the world that I'm figuring out, right? There are great, and it can evolve. It can evolve. But for right now, this is what I like to do. This is what I'm good at doing. And this is how I want to help people. And so that's why I go all in on this.
I got you. No, that makes sense. I want to backtrack a little bit. You mentioned that you realized you were a guide, and people, whether your clients or people in general, must become their own hero.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you discover this?
I can't work out for someone. I can't eat food for someone. All right. And really, you know what? How I discovered this, let me backtrack myself just for a moment. How I really discovered this is I have hired mentors in the past, right? And oftentimes we go and we hire the next mentor and we hire the next coach. We take the next certification and we tell ourselves, this is going to be the end all be all. This is going to solve all of my problems if I just do this one thing. And then you go through it and it doesn't solve everything. It solves some things, right? But it doesn't solve everything. And plus, if I didn't do the work for it, but I'm like, oh, but I hired this person, right? But then I did no work. It wouldn't matter. Nothing would change because I have to change. I have to be the hero that changes it. All right. So it's through my own experience of I can go and hire the best mentor for $10,000 a month if I so pleased. But if I don't implement what they are telling me, then I'm just wasting $10,000 a month.
That's true. I like the way you worded that though. That you're just a guide. Okay. Now, I feel like you have been, but I don't know. So I don't want to make any implications. But
go ahead,
podcast.
make an assumption, and then I'll tell you if I believe it's true or not. I don't care.
You call the podcast Growth by Shawn. Well, you named the podcast Growth by Shawn.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I haven't known you forever, but it's been like 4 or 5 years. So I've seen a lot of stages of you. And personally, I would consider you, even prior to the podcast, like a growth catalyst.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who fully embodies growth in their life, but even though you're not being the hero in other people's lives, you're definitely someone who's always struck me as the growth catalyst type person,
Mm-hmm.
helping other people to grow along with them. Have you always been that type of person?
No. And again, like there is actually not a specific moment that I could bring this back to, all right, where everything started to change, right? What I actually started to learn, all right, as I continued to develop was that, again, I'll go back to people are not going to believe me when I tell them things, okay? I can have all of the right answers, but if I can show them the way, then they will follow. All right. But if you just tell someone all of the right answers, they won't do it. But if I show them that this is what has worked, they are much more likely to go and follow you. The same reason why I didn't get as many clients, because when I was a personal trainer, I was overweight. Why would someone want to go and follow me? Why would someone listen to me? I see overweight trainers now. Why are you working out with that person if they haven't done it for themselves? Why, if you're a doctor, why are you overweight? And then they tell you, oh, just diet and exercise. Do you diet and exercise? Right? Because here's the thing about humans and our nature, right? We don't necessarily see the world as it is. We see the world as we perceive it. All right. And so that's why something like social media, something like Instagram, whatever. All right. Are you much more likely to, if there were two videos, one person is massively overweight and they're telling you to go and eat XYZ food, and then you see another person on your feed and they have a 6-pack and they tell you to go and eat XYZ food, who are you going to believe? And it sounds like a simple answer, right? Oh, I'm going to go and believe the person that's shredded, right? And so we don't see the world how we want to see it. We see it, one, as we are, and then two, as we perceive it. And so I started to understand, okay, I can't just tell people what to do. I have to go and do it. And then as I go in to do it, more people started to ask me things. How did you do it? Right? Oh, okay. Now this is how you work out. How do I work out like you? Right? How do I eat like you? How do I look like you? But if I just tell people to do it, they won't do it. So that's when I transitioned into this more, I view myself as a leader, right? And so a leader, you need to set the example. I can't just say one thing and then do another, because that's a lack of integrity. But if I go and continue to show up, keep the promises that I make to myself, and show people this is what's working for me, all right, this is what's working for other people that I've helped in the past, they are much more inclined to go and fulfill that.
Okay.
Did that answer your question?
It does.
Okay.
That is just also really true, even outside of like the fitness aspect. Because as you started explaining, and we're like, even if you just tell someone, because even me, and it wasn't fitness, but it was the podcast, you're like, do this. And I'm like, I don't know how to do that. I don't see that button.
See, think about it like this, right? And so for your breathwork practice, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you had never done breathwork and you were like, breathwork will change your life, all right? And then you started to just share that message with people, all right? People are going to be like, okay, cool. But if you continue to embody what you are preaching, right? Breathwork will change your life. Breathwork will do XYZ for you. This is how it's worked for me. People see you doing breathwork. People know that you host retreats doing breathwork, right? All of these different aspects, people see you doing it and they see that it's worked for you. They'll be like, I want that. Not just because you told them, but it's because you do it. And so you need to take that same mentality into everything, right? And I'm not just saying that I want people to follow me, right? But in terms of my own beliefs and my own thought processes, all right, I know that I can help change the world in this certain aspect. So I need to follow through, and I need to be the leader. I need to set an example. I need to be honest with myself. I need to be critical of when I'm falling short, all right? Because especially with Growth by Shawn, right, there's two things that are happening even right now, and it's just a law in nature. Something is either growing and expanding, or something is shrinking and dying. Think of a flower, right? A flower, it may not look like it's shrinking or growing, but it is doing one of the two, just like both of us. Because we are either shrinking or we are growing, all right? And I'm not saying just in height, all right, or your body weight or something like that, but we are made up of a bunch of different cells. And those cells are either growing and expanding, or they are shrinking and dying. It's a very basic yet complex law of the universe. Everything is vibrating all at once, right? Even all of these solid objects that you see around us in the room, all right? Everything is vibrating at a certain frequency. And so it's either growing or it's dying. Hence, Growth by Shawn.
Okay.
Well, it's not Shrink by Shawn.
I just thought you were going somewhere else with that.
Where did you think I was going?
No, I'm not going to finish your sentence for you.
Oh, all right. Well, you said you thought I was going somewhere else, so I was curious where you thought I was going.
Well, I just thought you were gonna mention something with like the two aspects of it. I don't know. It's fine.
Okay, it's fine. Cool. It's your podcast.
So I agree in terms of that something's either growing or it's shrinking. And now you brought that up with Growth by Shawn. Did Growth by Shawn help you realize that?
Help me realize that everything is either growing or dying?
Yeah.
No.
Like okay. Like what's your correlation?
What's my correlation? Just the name Growth by Shawn.
Oh.
That's my correlation.
Okay, because I was very confused over
really
here.
just the name. Okay. Just the name.
Okay, because I was so lost. I really thought you okay.
No.
Okay.
No. Sorry to confuse you on your own podcast. My apologies. This is fun already. I hope everyone that's listening is having as much fun as I am.
So now that you've talked for 30 minutes, who would you say Shawn is at the core?
Who is Shawn at the core? A silly fella.
That's your ass chat, I know.
Yes.
And yes I did just say that.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. That is honestly who I am at my core. Is a silly fella, a maverick, and someone that doesn't like to play by the rules. I make my own rules.
Okay. What? Like what?
You can look at anything, right? I have conversations with people all day long. I have sales calls. I check in with clients, right? And we can all look at like, okay, you need to say exactly this, 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 and this. You need to eat this, 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 and this. All right. But no, it's more nuanced than that. If you eat, all right, a peach and I eat a peach is technically good for us. It's fruit, right? A peach could cause you're scratching your head now, right? I'm just trying to make an easy example.
I'm listening.
Okay. So if you eat a peach and I eat a peach, all right, then you're going to digest it differently than me. You could be allergic to peaches. I could have a great reaction to peaches. And so there are no rules. I make up my own rules. Is that a bad example for you? Do you want me to say something different?
How is that an example? That's not an example of rules.
Of rules? You want like rules that I make up for myself?
Okay, well, if you want it, rules is broad, I guess.
All right. Well, rules is and what I'm getting at is that there's not one right way to do anything.
I agree completely.
And so if there are rules, right? You have to eat this. You have to work out this way. You have to talk to people this way. You have to have a sales conversation this way. No, I can make my own rules. Because as long as I'm able to get someone the results, and as long as I'm able to get the results in my life, it doesn't matter how I get there, as long as I make my own rules.
Okay.
So I'm going to try to give a different example than a peach.
I understand.
Okay. I'm just making sure you want. All right.
I'm listening. Go ahead.
No, that's all. That's my final thought there. I don't want to beat it.
You don't want to beat it? Okay. But no, I get what you're saying about there's no there's no right way to...
Let me use this as an example, right? You have a job, okay? You have to be there 9 to 5. Those are the rules, okay? You have to be there 9 to 5 because that's your hours. You just went to Bali 2 months ago. Was that you following the rules or are you making your own rules?
I guess that was me making my own rules.
That's it. There's no rule that says someone has to work 40 hours a week. It's a made-up rule.
Oh, I know.
There's no rules that we have to work between 9 and 5. It's a made-up rule.
Absolutely.
So make your own rules.
No, I agree. Okay. I just wanted you to elaborate on that. Okay.
Well, I don't have a list of rules that I follow for myself, you know?
No, I didn't mean a list, but I wanted a general idea. But I get what you're saying. I think that's a key point, though, that there's no right way to do anything or to achieve any result. Like, even like you said, even outside your clients, even in your personal life, if you want to achieve XYZ, you can get there doing it completely different than somebody else.
Yeah, that's it. And it doesn't actually matter how you get there. It's just the result. If you get the result you're looking for and I get the result I'm looking for, but we went two completely different paths, then who cares? Why does it matter? How much prep did you do for this podcast? I'm curious. How did you prepare for this?
Why are you asking me that?
Because we're just having a general conversation here, right?
Yeah.
This is the Mander. I was just curious. It was something that was just going through my head. Do you not want me to ask you questions on your own podcast? Is that frowned upon?
No, you can. I mean,
I was just curious.
I've listened to most of your episodes. I mean, I didn't prepare the same way I prepare for other guests because I know you.
Yeah.
Like I do. My prep is different for other episodes.
I was just curious. I'm sorry. I will
Okay.
I will refrain from asking you any questions from this point.
No, I'm
further.
just curious.
Yeah, and
I'm just curious why you asking that.
Because I was curious. This is a fun episode.
Yeah, real fucking fun. Real fucking fun. So, you know, would you say your fat loss journey has helped you? What has it helped you with the most? Your personal one. You've talked a lot about the clients.
Mm-hmm. A better sense of who I am.
Okay.
Would you like me to expand?
Yeah.
Oftentimes we can look at, if you were to look at the spirituality space, for an example, right? Everyone's trying to achieve their highest self, right? And is the 230-pound version of myself really the most honest, the one with the most integrity, the one with the most discipline, the one with the most commitment? No, right? We just tend to believe it, all right, at that time, because that's the fake version of myself, right? But we've believed it for so long because we've convinced ourselves that that's who we are, right? That 200-pound version of myself, we convince ourselves, nope, I can't change. This is me, because we've been operating for so long. But then for me, like, it's helped me with discipline. It's helped me with, as I said, commitment, integrity, honesty, everything, because it showed me how to trust myself. It showed me how to build something called personal integrity, how we keep promises to ourselves, right? When you set an alarm in the morning, do you get right up at the alarm or do you snooze the alarm? I made a promise to myself last night that I was going to get up at 6 o'clock. Is it 6:15? Is it 6:30? Is it 7:15? Right? And so continuing to keep those promises to yourself, you build more self-trust. And so even with just what I can control and what I put in my mouth, all right, is helping me build trust. I told myself I wasn't going to eat that. I told myself I was going to eat this. And it's those little small micro losses or micro wins that help build trust, right? So it showed me more of what I'm capable of, more of who I am, and more of a sense of self-belief. Because I told myself, this is what I'm going to do. This is who I'm going to be. And that's it.
And now you believe it because you followed through with it.
Well, one, I think like people sometimes get self-belief wrong, right? And so there can be this wide range of what self-belief is and what it means, right? And there's two ways you can look at self-belief. You can continue to tell yourself, this is who I am, all right? And that's one way to believe in yourself. But if you don't follow through, do you really believe in yourself, right? It's where I've changed my views on something like affirmations. I can continue to tell myself I'm a millionaire all day long, but if I don't have any proof or evidence that I'm a millionaire, then is that self-belief or is that just me lying to myself, right? And so affirmations can be helpful and beneficial, but I don't think that they're the end all be all. And I don't think that's what leads to self-belief. I think self-belief is when you continue to give yourself evidence of this is who I am because these are my actions. And as you continue to follow through on those actions, that's where that component of self-belief actually comes from. You give yourself evidence of this is who I'm going to be, this is what I'm going to do, and this is why I believe in myself.
So you don't think it starts with belief before? Okay.
I don't think so. I think if someone wants to lose weight, but they don't believe that they can do it, I'm not going to go and be able to, I may not be able to go and change that belief in them in one sales conversation. I can show them the other side, but that doesn't mean that they all of a sudden just, I can paint them the vision of the future that they can have, but that doesn't mean that they automatically just believe it, right? I think that what you can do is you can just, because there's two, let me try to put it this way here, because I'll try to give as many like different actual steps and golden nuggets as I can, right? And so there's this component of what is it? Auto suggestion, right? Where you continue to tell yourself, this is who I am. You continue to tell yourself, okay, I can do this. I can do this, right? And then there's more of that component of brute force, where it's regardless of how I feel, this is what I'm going to do. This is who I'm going to be. And when you bring those two together, you continue to tell yourself this, I can do this. I believe in myself. But if you did that for an entire year and you just kept telling yourself, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, but you never changed any actions, why would you believe in yourself? But then there's that brute force component where, okay, you know what? I don't feel like eating chicken and rice today, but I'm going to do it anyways. All right. I don't feel like not drinking a 6-pack tonight, but I'm going to do it anyways. I don't feel like getting up early, but I'm going to do it anyways. All right. And then you give yourself evidence. Oh my God, now something's changing because my actions are changing. And when you bring those two things together, I think that's where self-belief really comes in. That's when people can actually start believing in themselves. Yes, self-talk is important, but you know what? You need to back it up with the actions as well. Because I can talk myself up a big game all I want, but if I never follow through on it, why would I believe it? Why would anyone else believe it? Even if I shit talk myself all day, but you know what? My actions are on point. I'd believe it. I have the evidence. And so it's a combination. It's a combination of the self-talk and the actions. I think they're both important.
No, I agree with that, because I had a time in my life where I had the actions and I had the evidence, but the shit I was saying to myself was awful. Mm-hmm. And the belief in myself was not there. So it didn't align fully because I had half of it. Mm-hmm. Even like Kim had said to me, like the thoughts, the things we don't say out loud, you know, but it was still internally eating me.
And it's hard. It's not necessarily easy, right?
Yeah.
And oftentimes, like, we're just trying to impress people that we don't even care about, right? We want the status, right? We want the nice shoes. We want the nice house. We want the nice car, all of these different things, right? But do we actually want it? Do I really care about a car? Not really. I'll drive whatever, right? But you know what? The car will make you feel a different way. And oftentimes that's what we're chasing. We're chasing a feeling. It's not even necessarily the body. It's, okay, it's not that I want to look jacked and shredded. How is looking jacked and shredded going to make me feel? How is being overweight making me feel? And so if you can find the feeling and then chase the feeling and embody the feeling, your actions will start to align much more.
Okay. Find the feeling, chase the feeling, and embody the feeling. That's the 3 you said?
Almost all of our decisions are based on feelings and emotions. So if we can find the ones we want and do the things that are going to give us that feeling, all right, or at least find things that will give us a similar feeling, then we can have it. How can I get the feeling of what it will feel like to drive a nice car, right? Just like our brain can't process between reality and imagination. And so if I could just sit there, meditate, what will it feel like to have the nice car? Then I don't necessarily need the nice car. I already feel like that.
Okay. Would you say it's the same meditating and feeling like you have that car and actually having it?
If you can embody the feeling, then it doesn't actually matter the car that you have.
But how can you embody the feeling if you haven't had that actual feeling before.
Okay. Have you had $1 million before?
No.
Okay. If I told you that I was going to write you a check, all right, and I wrote you a check for $1 million and I gave it to you, all right, how are you going to feel?
I wouldn't believe I'd be able to cash it.
Okay, hold on. So let's say I'm worth $100 million, all right, and I gave you a check for $1 million and I said, hey, here, you can go and cash this, but you can't cash it for 3 days. How are you going to feel for the next 3 days?
Mostly good.
You're going to feel like you have $1 million. It's foolproof. There's no, let's say it, like, let's
What
say
if
it's
I lose the
foolproof,
check?
right? Let's say we went to the bank together. You're trying to figure out, so you're already trying to self-sabotage this, right? And this is a made-up scenario.
No,
Ask
I'm
yourself
just
why.
thinking ahead.
Yeah, but
What's going to
no, you're
happen
not
in the
thinking
3
ahead.
days? 3 days, I'm like anxious over losing the $1 million.
Okay. Let's say I deposited $1 million into your bank account. Okay. But you can't spend it till tomorrow.
Okay.
How do you feel?
I feel excited. I feel good. I'm glad. I'm chilling.
You feel excited. You feel good.
Yeah.
But you can't even spend the $1 million.
But I know I will be able to.
Okay. But what we're getting at here is even without the car, even without the money, you still have the feeling.
Okay. I can see that.
So it's really just about the feelings,
I guess that's true.
right? What are a lot of us looking for in life? It's not necessarily the money and the status and all of these things. It's joy, fulfillment, right? Someone brought this up on a call that I had today. All right. If we went to Haiti today, all right, we go in and we see a family and we walk into their home, their little hut, and the whole floor is just mud. All right. And you see a blanket in the corner and it's a family of 5 and the whole family is sleeping on that corner in the blanket. And then they've got one soccer ball and it's all deflated. All right. And we're there the next day and the kids are playing with the soccer ball and they're all having fun. They got smiles on their face. And we look at the father and they're like, hey, it's genuine happiness. It's genuine joy, genuine fulfillment. The same feeling that all of these external things could give us, right? But they have that fulfillment and joy. It's the feeling. And they don't even have anything.
Yeah.
And so you don't need all of these things. You don't need the perfect body to have fulfillment and joy. You want the feeling of what it's going to give you.
That's true. That's an interesting point about Haiti. I noticed that too in Bali when I went. Like, yeah, there was a lot of beautiful views, but there were also like crappy areas, and you'd see people like that didn't have a lot of stuff, and you could tell, but they were all smiles. Everybody said hi. They were all so friendly. Like, it wasn't like if you were to see somebody in the U.S. with some of what we saw there, even with what they were wearing and the shoes on their feet as they were walking down the street, but you wouldn't know by their demeanor, by their like how they portray themselves.
No. And so life, I think, is just about finding feelings. So if you can figure out how they feel and you can embody them today, then you have everything you need without all the stuff.
So how do we embody the feelings better?
This is tough, right? So this is where the self-awareness component comes in.
Yeah.
Right? You have to realize where you're at first, right? Because to get where you want to go, you have to know where you are. If I gave you a map to Iowa right now, what's the first thing that you need to know? Where you are. Because if you don't know where you are, then that map really isn't helping us. And so figure out where you are first. Learn to check in with yourself. Learn to see how you feel. Right? And then all of these feelings You sit there, you take out all the distractions. We're all distracted now, right? You walk out, even in the grocery store, people got the headphones on and all these things, right? We're always plugged in and we're never still. We're never silent, right? We never have time to just sit there ourselves and our own thoughts, our own feelings, right? And so figure out where you're at. Because almost everyone has had feelings of joy, fulfillment before, right? Just about everyone. Go back to those same memories or thoughts that you've had before. How did you get there? How did it feel? Why did it feel that way? And then how can you feel the same?
That's key. Self-awareness is a big one. You know, I even make the joke on a few different episodes about my formal 3-hour morning routine. But that's the thing. I didn't know it was 3 hours until we did the time audit. Like, I joke about it now, but I had no idea.
Yeah.
I didn't know I was spending this much time. You know what I'm saying? So, like, until I took the time to audit my day and see where stuff was going, even a more real example, like outside of going to Iowa, you know what I mean? Like, people are like, you spend 3 hours in the morning. And it's like, listen, you don't know how much time you're spending on shit if you don't take the time to really, I guarantee a lot of people don't.
One of the best practices to do is that time audit, right?
I love that.
If you took an entire day, right, and you every 15 minutes, every 30 minutes, what did you do? You write that out for an entire day, you will be amazed. You will be astounded. Start to add it up. Oh my God, I spent 4.5 hours scrolling TikTok today, right? I listened to 5 podcasts, right? Whatever it be, right? It took me 4 hours to prep a meal. And hey, if you're a chef, you like to do that, hey, good for you. But like that time audit, right? That self-awareness component, we don't realize what we're doing, right? That's it. So just audit it. Because if you can measure it, you can change it.
I like that. If you can measure it, you can change it.
Well, let's look at a budget, right? If we were creating a budget for you, all right, and I said, Amanda, how much did you spend last month? If you've never done a budget, all right, oh, I don't know, I spent $2,000. Okay, are you sure? Well, yeah, I spent $1,000 on rent, and then like $200 on food, and $100 on gas, and I bought this dress, and it was like, I don't know, $55, and it's just like food, right? If you've never measured it before, you don't know how much you're actually eating. If you've never measured your budget before and how much you're actually spending, you have no idea. But once you measure it, then you can change it. People come to me and they say, I eat pretty healthy. The biggest lie I ever told, right? I eat pretty healthy.
But what does that even mean? That's so vague. Even if you are somebody who eats, like, what is that? That's vague. That is vague. That tells you nothing.
It is vague, and it tells you nothing, right? And it's going to look different for everyone, right? But there's 2 camps and I don't know how what is it? How informed you are, right? About these 2 camps there's the people that say you can eat whatever you want, calories in, calories out. It just matters on the quantity, versus the people that say, hey, no, it's the quality of food. All right. It doesn't matter how much you eat. It's just the quality. And in reality, it's both. It's just both. That's it. It's not a sexy answer. But if you measure it, all right, you can figure it out.
Yeah.
Sure. You can go and eat like there's different foods that are going to help change your body composition, right? If I ate 2,000 calories worth of pure protein every day, just meat all day long. And I'm not going into all of these fads and carnivore and all of these things. I'm giving you an example here, right? But if I was eating chicken and steak and very high protein, all right, and I ate 2,000 calories worth, and you ate 2,000 calories, but it was all cupcakes, all right? Depending on our body composition, and let's say that we're moving the same amount, we're drinking the same amount of water, we're sleeping the same amount. Let's say all of these factors are the same. The only thing is just the food, right? But we're eating the same amount, all right? You could lose weight and I could lose weight, all right? But the weight that you're going to lose is going to be a lot different than the weight I'm going to lose because I'm going to be able to keep a lot of muscle on me. You're going to look like a drooped candle.
A droop.
It gives you a good visual, right? It's my favorite thing to
I've never heard that
to give people.
analogy.
That's because I came up with it.
Okay.
Or at least I'm going to tell myself that I did. All right? Cuz I don't remember hearing about it from someone else. All right? But if you eat 2,000 calories worth of cupcakes, all right? Sure, technically from a calories in calories out perspective, you could go and lose weight. If over the next 3 months you only ate cupcakes, you're going to feel horrible, right? And maybe you drop 10 pounds, right? Technically from an energy standpoint, right? You could go and drop 10 pounds, but you're going to lose 10 pounds of muscle and fat. If I went and I lost 10 pounds, but I lost 9 pounds of fat and 1 pound of muscle, it's going to look a lot different.
Yeah.
So you need both. You need to worry about the calories, but you know what? You need to worry about the food quality too.
Do you think one's more important or they're both fully equal?
Oh, that is tough. Oh, man. I'm going to say it's 80%. I don't think they're equal. I'm going to say it's 80% how much you eat and 20% the quality of what you eat.
Okay. Now, how come?
I think you have to make some realistic expectations, though, to have this conversation, right? Are you looking for primarily just weight loss? Are you looking primarily for fat loss? Are you looking to build muscle? There's all these different aspects, right? And that's why health looks different for everyone, right? How I feed a runner, right? A marathon runner is going to be different than how I feed someone that goes and strength trains 3 to 4 times a week, right? So you need to see where you're going, all right? And then you can build a diet, a lifestyle around that.
No, I gotcha.
You know?
But so when you said the 80% how much and then 20% quality, what were you basing that off of? Which person?
Honestly, I was just throwing out an arbitrary number.
Okay.
Yeah. There's not really a huge rhyme or reason to it, right? And because when you asked it, it was generalizing. So I was generalizing. Because the majority of people, if they just took what they ate now, all right, and don't think on like a daily basis, the best way to go and look at this and realize things is you need to zoom out. It's not just about what you eat in a day. What do you eat in a week? What do you eat in a month? Right? Because the weekend trips a lot of people up, right? Monday through Thursday, they're perfect. And then all of a sudden, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they eat 5,000 calories, 7,000 calories, and 7,000 calories again, right? And it destroys them. And they're like, why am I not losing weight? I know. I need to go and cut carbs. Okay, buddy. Yeah, sure. And so, yeah, it depends. It depends a lot on the person. It depends on their expectations, right? And I'm just generalizing. But for the majority of people, if they just ate less, they would lose weight. Not everyone's trying to look like some crazy bodybuilder or something. And you know what? The majority of people aren't going to, right? Because it's really difficult to look like that, right? But if you just start to eat less and then start to change the quality, boom. That's about it.
That's true.
To a degree.
You know, when you mentioned how much you eat, and you also mentioned even muscle and then fat loss, weight loss, depending on what you're about, it could also be the reverse of that, depending on what you're doing. Because I reached a standstill at one point in my fitness journey when I wasn't getting any more shredded, but I wasn't eating enough.
Mm-hmm. So again, like since we're generalizing, like a lot of people, here's what happens a lot is the people that have lost a lot of weight, like yourself, right? You've dieted for so long, right? And your body is stressed. It's the same reason why during a contest prep, for an example, right? Or let me not use this example. Let me just use the example of like someone starts eating more and then losing weight, right? Normally it's because the body is very, very stressed, okay? and you're not actually replenishing much. You're not giving your body the energy that it needs. As soon as you start giving the body the energy that it needs in terms of food, then all of a sudden your workouts get better. And what's happening when your workouts get better? Oh my God, now I'm building a little bit of muscle. Now, even if the scale is not moving, your waist may go down. Your arms may get a little bit bigger or toned, right? All of these different aspects to building muscle. And so now when you start to feed the body, you're actually giving a body a reason to grow in terms of muscle and muscle retention. And now you look 10 times better than you did by just trying to eat 800 calories a day.
That's true.
Your body doesn't want to change when it's in a stress state either.
I know.
That's a big part of things, right? That's where more of the emotional side of things come in too. Right? Because we can talk about calories in, calories out all day long. We can talk about just food quality and all these things. But if you're going through a divorce and you're not sleeping at all, right? And you're constantly stressed and you're working and you got financial stress and all these different kinds of things, your body doesn't want to go and change. So there's all these stress components to it too.
Yeah. Fair.
Yeah. That's why people hire me too, right? That's why I have a job, right? Why am I not losing weight? Oh, well, you know what? Let's measure it first. How long have you even been dieting? What's your dieting history, right? Oh, you've been chronically dieting just on and off for the last 6 years? Yeah, all right. Let's get you to some type of baseline here. Put a little muscle on you. Let's fuel you a little bit. And even if the scale doesn't change, the scale could matter less for the most part.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of it's how you feel, energy, sleep. Are your workouts getting better? Is your mental space better? All these different aspects.
Yeah. No, that's so true. I think the biggest thing is with any type of change is being aware. Whatever isn't working, whatever you think isn't working, whether it's your time, whether it's health, fitness, whatever it is, stepping back and becoming more aware. I want to backtrack. In terms of the time on it, you had also had me do it 2 separate days. I did it on a work day versus a non-work day. So compare the two. Because it gives you the full picture. Even when you're comparing your food, see how you eat on a work day versus how you eat when you don't work. Your behaviors might be different. It's just worthwhile getting the picture.
Yep. Your behaviors aren't the same on both of those, right? It's when I onboard a client, right? Track your food for 4 days, right? Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Monday's going to be the best. Friday, Saturday, Sunday are going to be the worst. That's it. That way you get to actually see a little bit more, all right? Because if I just said, hey, track your food for the next 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all right, looks great. Cool. But then all of a sudden, Friday, Saturday, Sunday come and I don't see that. It's hard for me to go and develop a plan based on that. What's working, what's not. All I saw was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Again, that's less than 50% of your week.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Well, thank you so much for speaking with me.
We're already done?
Why? You have more? What do you want? I don't know.
Oh, no. It just went by so fast.
I mean, you told me 8:15, and that I have an ending segment to get into.
Oh,
and
sorry. I thought you were just going to call it quits. I'm sorry. I didn't know.
You're stressing me out,
Yeah, I'm not stressed at all over here.
I was so nervous for this.
Why?
Are you kidding me? I'm like shaking.
I'm not nervous at all.
I was like more nervous for this than I have been for anything.
I don't know about that.
That I have been for anything in a while.
Okay. Well, I was not nervous at all.
Well, I'm glad.
I was in a silly, goofy mood. Because that's how I feel when I talk to you. I always feel silly and goofy.
Why?
Because you're silly and goofy. That's why. And it's just who I am.
Yeah, you're a silly fella. I know.
Yep. All right, continue. Let's hear the last segment of the Mander's Mindset podcast.
Will you let me speak?
Sorry.
For fuck's sake.
Is there music that goes along with it?
I'm not going to play it right now.
Oh. I didn't know if it's
Do
live.
you want me to sing? You want me to sing to you?
That would be awesome, actually. Yes. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yep.
I was kidding.
I was not. Back to your segment. Go right ahead.
I have 2 ending segments. They're not mine. They're from Jay Shetty. Have you heard of him?
Yes.
Okay. He ends his podcast with these as well.
Okay.
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 There's 2 segments. I feel like you didn't want to be done. You have more to say, though.
No, I'm good. It just went by very quickly.
Okay.
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. First segment is the many sides to us, and they need to be answered in 1 word each.
Okay.
What is 1 word someone who is meeting you for the first time would describe you?
Silly. Next question.
Number 2, what is 1 word that someone who knows you extremely well would use to describe you?
Delusional.
What is 1 word you'd use to describe yourself?
Oh, man, this is tough. I already want to use silly and delusional.
I'm glad you didn't repeat because I yelled at a guest once when they did. So I'm glad
That
you
wouldn't be fun. That wouldn't be fun. No. Committed.
Okay. What is 1 word that if someone didn't like you or agree with your mindset would use to describe you?
Egotistical.
Number 5. What is 1 word that you're embodying right now?
Is all in 1 word?
No.
All dash in. Okay. 1 word that I'm embodying right now. Honest.
Okay. Then the second segment is the final 5. And these can be answered in a sentence, okay?
1 sentence?
I don't, if you have, I guess, I don't know.
The last segment was 1 word. So, and you said a sentence. So I just want to clarify before I give any answers here.
Technically 1 sentence.
1 sentence. Got it.
It can be a 1 run-on sentence, though.
Oh boy.
Number 1. What is the best advice you've heard or received?
Don't believe your clients.
Why is that the best advice?
The same reason why people say I eat pretty healthy. I don't believe them.
Okay.
Because if you don't believe them, you're not emotionally attached to it. And if you're emotionally attached to it, then you just feel bad for them. And if you feel bad for them, you can't help them.
Okay.
It's why I don't give people sympathy. You have empathy. So I can understand where you're at, and I know it's difficult, but if I give you sympathy, then I'm reaffirming that you can't get yourself out of it. If I give yourself empathy, I can agree and see how you're viewing the world right now, but then call you up.
Okay. Call you up. Okay.
Not call you out, call you up.
What's the difference between call you up and call you out?
Call you out is me telling you, hey, you're wrong.
But what's call you up?
Calling you up is saying, I agree that this is difficult for you, but then showing you that you can change it.
Okay. Okay. What is the worst advice you've heard or received?
To be realistic.
Okay. What is something that you used to value that you no longer value?
This may come off wrong, right? But something I used to value that I no longer value. Friends. And when I say that, I don't mean that friendship isn't important. I mean to say that it's okay to outgrow people and go a different direction. And so there are certain friendships that we often try to cling to. I've been friends with this person for 10 years, right? But now you guys don't even have anything in common, and you're both going in different directions of life. And so it's okay to no longer value that friendship. You can still love them from afar, and that's okay too.
Okay. If you could describe what you would want your legacy to be as if someone were reading it, what would you want it to say?
He kept his word.
Okay. If you could create one law in the world that everyone had to follow, what would it be? And I want to know why.
Oh man, this could be fun. One law.
Yep.
Let me think for a moment. Does everyone get tripped up on these questions?
Yeah.
I know what it would be. You're not allowed to honk the horn at someone that cuts you off.
And why is that the law?
Because I'm the ruler, right? And this is the law I want, to teach people that they don't have to be so emotional. All right? Someone cuts you off and you're all upset about it. They know what they're doing. That other person knows they're cutting you off. You don't need the closure of honking your horn, I got you. All right? So it's going to teach people to regulate their emotions more. And it's hard.
Okay. Okay. I like that. I like that. Now I have a personal question for you. Okay. If you
I'm ready.
Okay, good. If you happen to have the attention of the whole world for 5 minutes, what would you say?
Do you want me to speak for 5 minutes?
Yes.
5 minutes long right now with a timer?
Whenever you're ready. I'm ready.
Okay. Oh my God, I got the whole world in front of me. Hello, world. I think we all knew that this time was coming. It was inevitable. So, I first want to let you all know that each of you are loved and that we are all one. There's a law of the universe, the law of one. And if we could fully embody that more, I think that the world would actually be a much better place. Because all of the anger and frustration that you want to give to this person, you have no idea what's going on in their life. And all of this anger and frustration that you have, someone has no idea what's going on in your life either. And so if we could just have more empathy and realize this person may be going through a hard time, and you know what? I'm going to treat them with love and I'm going to make them laugh, then the whole world would be a better place. Because you know what? During almost any time, if you can bring laughter into the mix, if you can interrupt this pattern that people have, right? Then the whole world can change because it will change your state. Go back to the car example, right? Imagine if when you honked the horn, it was a goofy laugh that came out. You would kind of giggle. Now all of a sudden you're not mad, right? If we were fighting and then I said something obscure that was really funny, I made a joke, you would be like, oh, really? Really? And then you would want to laugh. And then like, why were we even fighting? Right? Everyone's very red or blue. And we need purple. That's what red and blue make.
I know. Purple's my favorite color.
I know. But yeah, if we just had more purple, then the world would be better. because we could go and have a conversation, and I would respect your views. You would respect my views. And even if we don't agree on them, we could say, I can see where we're coming from. Do you want me to keep going for 3 more minutes or 2 more minutes?
I didn't know if you were done.
I'm done. I'm done.
I didn't want to interrupt. I didn't know if you were, I don't know.
2 moments for a moment of silence.
Is there anything else you want to share with the listeners?
Let me give my best actionable step right now. Many of us, all of us, have goals, right? And we're outcome focused about the goal. When you can reverse engineer, okay, look at the goal, not be attached to the outcome, and say, who is the person? How would I have to show up? Who would I have to become? And you write that out. You write that out right now. You're at the top of the page. Who do I have to become? That goal will happen. And when you can become that person today, it's inevitable.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for speaking with me. And
Thank you
where
for
can
having me.
everybody connect with you? I will put it in the show notes, but where can they find you?
Everywhere is at Growth by Shawn. Shawn is SHAWN.
Sounds
And that's
good.
it. Thank you, Amanda.
Well, thank you.
I appreciate it.
You. And thanks, guys, for tuning in to another episode of Mander's Mindset. Hey, guys. Mander's here, and I just want to share a few key takeaways that I want you to keep in mind that Shawn shared. First, self-belief is a combination of our self-talk and our actions. It's not just one or the other, because you will likely self-sabotage yourself if you have negative self-talk, but you have the action. They need to exist together. It's like a formula. Shawn also mentioned something about how most of our decisions are made based on our feelings and our emotions. How we feel about a certain thing often dictates the behavior that we engage in. It is often based on a feeling. Shawn and I also talked about the concept of awareness and how that is key for anything you want to change within your life, whether it's health-wise, fitness-wise, or a professional goal. Something you want to do within your life, you cannot change it if you're unaware of it. Shawn also said, if you can measure it, you can change it because you can see the full picture if it's measurable. Keep that in mind. If you're listening to me right now, you likely have something in your life that you are trying to change, something you are trying to achieve. And in order to change or achieve whatever it is you are trying to do, you need to understand and be aware of the full picture, which sounds like common sense, but a key example I always use is the 3-hour morning routine that I had. And everybody laughs and thinks I'm crazy, but I didn't realize it was 3 hours. There's a lot of things I did in this 3 hours. It consisted of my gym workout. It also consisted of me doing an incline walk on the treadmill, socializing with my friend. But the key is becoming aware of the bigger picture. So I hope you take this as your sign and encouragement to become more aware of your life. And the last thing I want to leave y'all with that Shawn said, and this is something he has really emphasized to me in my life, and I fully embody it, and I love how he talked about this. There are no rules. There's no rule book to life. You can live your life how you want to live your life. Like Shawn mentioned, we can all achieve success in the same area, but by doing it a different way. And what difference does it make if we are all successful in the same category, but our path to success was different? He's also someone who's really helped me realize that in terms of the podcast. For those of you who don't know, when I first started the podcast, I was recording it on my phone. Did I get the best video quality? No, I didn't. Was audio perfect? No, but you know what? I did not use that as an excuse not to start. Because in the past, I had that mindset that everything has to check every box before I can do the thing. Then I showed myself, and Shawn helped me embody this mindset of I can still start a podcast. I can still do the thing, even if my start to the journey looks different than Joe Schmo's down the street start to the journey. So I hope this encourages you to live your life, guys. There's no rules. We're not getting the time back. The only thing we're not getting back And don't worry, Shawn will be back on Mander's Mindset. This is just the first of many appearances. I have so much more to say to him. I will be much less nervous, and we will have more of a conversation. So you'll hear a little bit more of Mander's and her mindset. But I really appreciate you guys tuning in to a year's worth of episodes. If you haven't already left me a 5-star rating, I'd really appreciate that because it helped me get the podcast out to more people. If you haven't left a review on Apple Podcasts, I'd super appreciate that as well. And share this episode with anyone you think would benefit from hearing it. Also, if you have not listened to the Growth by Shawn podcast yet, in the show notes, you can click it directly to go and listen to an episode. I've also been on the podcast. If you want to hear me on the other side of the mic, you can check that out as well. And thank you so much to Shawn for taking the time to speak with me, for his patience, and for honestly helping me so much grow within my own life. Guys, thank you so much. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for those of you listening to me right now. 1 year of Mander's Mindset. I also truthfully believe I would not be here right now if it was not for Shawn's help. And y'all, if you're listening to me right now, I know you are on some type of a self-development, personal growth-based journey. And I'm going to read you 2 different messages that Shawn sent me, and I hope these encourage you to keep going on whatever journey you are on. The first one, all capital letters, breathe. You are presented with a challenge to make you more resilient. Maybe the challenge you are currently facing in your life, trying to achieve whatever goal you are trying to achieve, is being presented to make you more resilient. Then he said to me later on in this conversation, 1 rep at a time is something that's been valuable to me. And then I said, 1 rep at a time, ? Looking for him to elaborate. And then he said, yup, every podcast is a repetition. Every breathwork session is a repetition. The more you do it, the better you get. And that is true for everything in life. And again, it seems like something that is obvious. However, how often do so many of us start a new journey and we're disappointed, or we compare ourselves to somebody else on a similar journey, but they're in step 3 of the journey and you're in step 1 of the journey? You can't compare your beginning to somebody else's middle. Honestly, I'm just so fucking excited. I didn't know where I would be a year ago. And a lot of us don't, but I am so thrilled for everything this has brought into my life and everything I have been able to help share with people I know and even people I don't know. So thank you guys again. And I hope you take this as your encouragement to start whatever it is you want to start. Doesn't have to be perfect. Doesn't have to check every single box. But you know what? You will be glad a year later that you started. I promise you. A lot of people told me, you can't start a podcast with your cell phone. You know what? I'm fucking thrilled a year later that I didn't listen to those people. Go fucking start. Well, I hope this helped you shift your mindset. And don't forget, I'm Mander Russo, and this is still Mander's Mindset.